Welcome back, YouTubers. This is Omar from Near Mint Condition, and today I'm going to show you my haul for December of 2017, the last haul of the year. Look at the trade paperbacks first. Found these while I was working in Cleveland, and they were $5 each. And this is exactly the bind I'm working on. It is the Extreme X-Men Chris Claremont bind. I know some people hate it. Some people really like it. I happen to think it was a great series and a very underrated Chris Claremont series, but that's just my opinion. However, the artist Igor Corti is not one of my most favorite artists. The cover artist is done by Salvador La Roca, but the internal artwork is, well, a little bit different. I think his problem was that he was rushed because he was doing like 3 books a month. So it kind of shows in some of his artwork. But anyway, this is one of the custom binds I've been working on for a while. So I'm glad that I found those for about $5. I also finished up my Superman and Action comics from New 52. I already have volume 9 of Action, so I didn't need to get that. So you have Superman. That started off with Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. And then it went on to Yang with John Romita Jr. And I think it ended up being with Peter Tamaki ended up finishing it up during the last days of Superman's story arc. So I'm glad I get to wrap up this series. And then we have Action Comics. I haven't read any of these right here. This is Greg Pak and Aaron Kruder, who's now working on Guardians of the Galaxy. And I kind of dig his artwork. I know his artwork is hit and miss with some people, but this looks pretty cool to me. Let's see. Yeah, and this also contains some of the story from the last days of Superman. So pretty hyped about how all this came together. I found Irredeemable Volume 1 for 50% off. So based on what Gabe and Jess has said, this is one of the best superhero comic books. I've heard a lot about it, and I cannot wait to read it because I've never read it. No, there's, I believe, 5 or 6 volumes altogether to wrap up the entire series, but it's supposed to be one of Mark Waid's best books. Just another shout out to my wife for making me this amazing, amazing bookmark. No, some people don't use it, but I have a bad memory, so I have to use it. Speaking of my wife, she bought me this amazing book that I fell in love with when I read it over Christmas break. This one's Summer by the Tamaki sisters. So it's about 2 girls that go to the same lake every year during the summer. This particular summer, though, there are some changes happening in their lives. One of them is becoming distant from her mother, and she's falling in love with a boy. And while I have nothing in common with 2 12, 13-year-old girls, I still found it intriguing and interesting, and kind of reminds me of my own childhood with my friends in a way. But yeah, I read it in like 2 days. I would have read it in 1, but I had family get-togethers and things like that. I love the line artwork, the simplicity and complexity within them. I really, really highly recommend this book. It's probably one of the best books I've read in 2017. And it's fairly cheap. The paperback is only like $8.50 or something like that on Amazon. I can post a link on the notes for you guys if you're interested. But yeah, I highly recommend this book. I believe they have worked on some Marvel and DC stuff like She-Hulk. Completely opposite of Innocence and girls visiting summer lakes is Junji Ito's Shiver. This completes the remaining stories from the now out of print Museum of Terror books from Dark Horse. The other parts are done in the Tomie book. And as I've mentioned several times before, Junji Ito is one of the few artists that can freak me completely the fuck out with his creepy artwork. I cannot say enough. If you like scary stories, if you like horror stories, if you're just a fan of amazing artwork, this is the guy for you. This is one of the manga that I recommend to my non-manga reading friends. So this kind of art style at all piques your interest, you should definitely check this book out. Or check out one of his other works like Tomie or Gyo, however you say it, or Uzumaki, which is probably my favorite work he's done. he is truly a master of his art and just amazing, freaky artwork. My wife also got me the Love and Rockets collections, 1, 2, and 3. Fantagraphics started printing these out a couple years ago, and apparently they did a really good job collecting them. So this is one of the series I've been wanting to dive into, but I never got a chance to because it's just way too many. They've been going on for way too long for me to catch up. I didn't really do the research, so I'm kind of glad she did it for me, and I can't wait to read this because I know a lot of people speak highly of this series, and I want to find out why. I think it's damn well due time that I do. So I got volume 1, 2, and 3. I think 5 volumes make up the Love and Rockets books, but the other Hernandez brothers also has a book series. I think it's, yeah. So in the back here's, this makes up the Love and Rockets by Jamie Hernandez. And then Gilbert Hernandez has his own series of books, the Palomar series, which they're all in the same universe, I believe. Well, regardless, I'm going to find out, so can't wait to read those. And this totally awesome Greatest Cartoons of the 80s book that my brother got me. He knows how much I love cartoons, so this is really cool. It shows original artwork and original premises of the cartoons. The pitches, the scripts, layout, artwork. The original pitch for the Transformers. Oh, this is cool, yeah. I haven't had a chance to look at it. Got it for Christmas, so I'm really, really excited to read this. Alright, now, on to a little more mature subject. I got some whales in my haul this time around. And here's a couple of them. The Manara Erotica series, volumes 1 and 3. I initially passed up on the Manara Erotica series. I own the first 6 volumes of the Manara library collection and the Borgias. But I skipped on these because I think, honestly, they were just smut to me. So what happened? They went out of print. And when they went out of print, I was like, well, I gotta buy it because they went out of print. And that's what happened. So I ended up getting the hardcovers. These are also available in softcover too. I'm going to try to show you some of his wonderful artwork before getting into the raunchy stuff. He, to me, draws the most beautiful women in comic books. And I don't think there's another like him. He has a very unique style, and I'm sure some people think he's a perverted old man in the way that he draws women. Sure, yeah. I can't show you very much of these books because I think just about every other page has some kind of sexual act or nudity or something, but, I mean, there's a lot of smut in these books. There's no other way to put it. You must really like Manara, or you must really like smut. So, I mean, to each their own. Who the hell am I to judge? I own the damn things. Now I'm missing volume 2, so thanks to Jess Bragg for these books here. Now I have to worry about finding the hardcover in volume 2. Another Jess Bragg recommendation that does not happen to be smut is My Favorite Things is Monsters. Now this book has been on everybody's list all year long. This is on everybody's must-read 2017. And I love the way that the book is drawn. It looks like it was drawn on notepad paper. It's very unique. I cannot wait to read this. I have no idea what the stories are about, but already I'm digging the art style. Now, a series that I did end up reading, and really fast at that, was Luther Strode. How do I describe Luther Strode? Well, it's damn violent, and I mean damn violent and graphic. The story is pretty simple. Actually, it reminds me a lot of manga like Bao or Xenon in the way that the violence is drawn and the way that the story proceeds. You could definitely tell that the two creators, Jordan and Moore, were heavily influenced by manga and anime. And you can kind of tell when you're looking through the protagonist's bedroom, or for that matter, here, let me show you this one page. Yeah, like I said, violent. So, it's a beautiful book. I like the colors. I like the art, even though it can be confusing at some points, but I think it does its job rather well. Like I mentioned, it really reminds me of manga, even in the way that the art gets a little bit confusing during the battles and things like that. This is the page I was talking about. So, I like, this is like a Where's Waldo for me. Like, there's members of the Raccoon City police force, Chris and Jill and Barry and Leon. And then, even in the dead bodies here are little Dragon Balls. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, if you like violence, if you like fast action and hardly any deep stories, this is a book for you. This is, you know, I found it to be really fun. I thought it was awesome. Now, I've done a in-depth look at the Captain America Omnibus, so if you want to look at that, it is on the channel. Just go back a couple of videos. I also picked up Street Fighter Cammy. Why? Because I like Street Fighter and I like Cammy, obviously, and the artwork. That's all I can say about that, really. It's just the artwork. And I picked up the I Hate Fairyland hardcover. This is your DCBS variant with the black instead of pink, and she has a different face. And this is your average Image hardcover. No dust jacket. I haven't read any of this, so I'm kind of curious to see how it is. It's one of those books people either love or hate. I'm a big fan of Scotty Young's artwork, and as you probably know from previous hauls, and because I pick up the Street Fighter books, you know that I don't have to have a good story for me to pick up a hardcover. I just like my artwork to be oversized sometimes. Now the complete opposite of that, with a great story and awesome artwork, is Mighty Thor Volume 2, which is Volume 4 in the hardcovers if you're keeping up of the Jason Aaron run. But this is the one with Lady Thor, with Jane when she is Thor. That's the inside of the dust jacket and the back. A must read? I have to agree, because it is awesome. I'm a double and triple dipper, so when the Omnibus is announced, I will probably sell these, because it will probably contain the unworthy Thor. I know I'm an idiot. I can't be the only one, right? I know some of you guys also double and triple dip. Maybe not as stupid as I am. Man, I've fallen in love with Daughterman. I had never heard of this guy until I started reading Thor. And the artwork is just beautiful. The colors, of course, help it too. Look at that. Man. Speaking of beautiful colors, artwork, and story, this is Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Descender. This is the first hardcover of the Image ongoing series. And again, no dust jacket. And there was a DCBS variant of this, but I really like this cover better. Now, Dustin Nguyen does something a little different than he usually does. He paints all his art in this. So that's why this book takes a little longer to come out. Because of the painted pages. They're not just colored on inks. He actually takes time to paint each page and each panel. And it is completely gorgeous. I've read the first 2 trade paperbacks. I really like the story. And I can't wait to read it like this. This particular hardcover collects issues 1 through 16. And looking at pages like that kind of makes me miss him on Detective Comics. I loved his art during that time. He's a damn good artist that can adapt to any kind of story. Alright, Justice League of America, the last Rebirth book for me to have all the hardcovers in the DC Rebirth line. Why? Probably because I'm a completist and an idiot. I don't know if it's any good. If anything, at least I have a hardcover with Ryan Ottley doing the Justice League on the cover. I don't know very much about the series. I hope it's better than the Justice League book, because that Justice League book was completely horrible. The one by Brian Hitch. These collect a series of 6 miniseries, and it has the first 6 issues in the Rebirth issue of Justice League of America. It has characters like Lobo, the Ray, and of course Batman and Vixen. So Killer Frost, I believe, yeah, Killer Frost is also in this team. So I'm curious to read it. Probably bottom of the pile, but I'll read it. And now we have Walking Dead Volume 14. This is the only way that I read The Walking Dead. I wait for them to come out in hardcover because I can't deal with monthly issues. They're just not long enough. Downside to that is sometimes the stories get ruined for me because people just like to post things online. Luckily, nothing got spoiled for me, and something huge happens in this volume during the Whisper storyline. I'm not going to put those pages, but I thought that something bad and sad happens, and that is a theme of Walking Dead, I guess. That something bad is always happening, so that's not spoiling anything. But I just think it's a fun series with an ever-changing cast, so maybe that's why I keep reading it. It's certainly a lot better than the TV show. And here's Black Science Volume 2 by Rick Remender and Matteo Scalera. It is another Image book. However, it's one of those library-sized edition books, so it's a little taller than your standard hardcover from Image. There was a DCBS variant of this, but I just went ahead and got this because I really like the cover. I didn't realize the first printing had a problem with the binding of the first volume, but this one looks legit okay. The way that the pages lay flat and stuff, so it's not. I hope it's good. I need to check my first volume. I didn't know that it had a printing or a binding problem until somebody pointed it out when I was on an Omnibus show. If you like sci-fi, if you like Rick Remender, if you like great stories, this is the book for you. Kind of reminds me a little bit of his Fear Agent and the space theme and things like that, but it's a lot bigger than that. I still think Fear Agent is probably my favorite book that Remender has ever done. But as bigger, I mean the worlds are bigger. So you get to see a lot more characters and places than you would in Fear Agent. And last but certainly not least, this wonderful, wonderful, unexpected gift from Jimmy Pesantes. Thank you so much. This beautiful Cammy 1/4 statue with her Street Fighter V variant outfit is completely amazing. Thank you very much, brother. I was not expecting this. This is beautiful. So that's my haul for December and the last of 2017. I'd love to know what you guys bought. Don't forget to check out our live episode that comes out today, January 3rd at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you just go on the channel, join the chat, and interact with us. We'll have a Q&A towards the end of the episode. But yeah, it'd be great if you guys could join us. Again, this is Omar from Near Mint Condition. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if this is your first time watching a haul. Have a great day.